screaming SOS, it's an emergency. The sky is falling down around me. Hit it! Back upper, ain't trying to hit none of that palapa. Whatever, rebel with a cause and ambition on a mission. Tear down the walls of these lying politicians.
Welcome to the Lonestar Collective podcast. I'm your host, Jesse Williams. This week, it is episode 47. Our review this week is going to be Cannarock. Our guest are AJ Channer of Fire from the Gods and Britton Taylor, founder of Cannarock. How are y'all doing this afternoon?
Hi.
What's up, people?
Doing
What's
well.
up? What's going on? How we doing?
Surviving the heat, as we were talking about a moment ago.
Turn it up. Fire, fire, fire. Texas does it well with the heat, man. They love it.
I'm loving these memes where people, especially being I'm former military, people are like, oh, you don't understand heat until you've been in a porta potty in Tehran. And I'm like, yeah, come try it in Texas.
Yeah.
Go stand at a festival out in the middle of like Zilker Park during the festival. It's 110 degrees. It's line for a porta potty.
Oh.
Dude, yeah, this is something else. And it's so funny. I hate to bring up the global warming thing, but with Europe, the way it is, people are, energy conservation is massive in Europe. So there are no ACs,
Yeah.
So you're in 106 degree heat in a place where typically that just doesn't happen. And there's no AC in a hotel room. It's pretty brutal. So I don't know. World's getting hotter, in my opinion. Things are getting a little heated up.
I lived in upstate New York for about 6 or 7 months.
Right.
And so I totally get it because it's not just that it's energy
You
conservation.
mean
It's,
Southern Canada?
well, it's how old a lot of the structures are. They weren't built with central AC into them.
No,
so
not at all. Not at all.
They've got boilers. They put that into it. They got those little radiators in a lot of the rooms and a lot of the apartments and things. So they're prepped for the winter, but the summertime rolls around. It gets to be above 90 degrees and you're freaking out because there's no fans either. You got to go buy box fans and things.
Those boilers, we used to call those like the ghetto dryers, the clothes dryers. You don't know how many
clothes on them.
You know how many uniform shirts I've burned on those things because I didn't get my uniforms clean for school. So my mom was always having to buy uniform shirts because I was always putting them on the radiators. Yeah, New York's a special place.
I remember having the window wide open because there's 2 settings for those boilers as well.
Oh,
It's open and burning to death.
Yep.
Or not working at all.
Don't play in the room and then bump into one of those. Yeah, you'll get one of those nasty little scars.
Yeah. So let's talk about Cannarock. That's kicking off August, correct?
Yeah, actually 1 month from today, the 27th. So the countdown has officially begun.
There's a lot going into the preparation for this one because, as you well know, this is the third, and the first 2 were very cool and very good and very successful. But with this third one, I think we're looking to really kind of plant a flag and make a statement that in Austin, as far as cannabis is concerned, and with the hemp cop and all these other things that exist, we'd like for Cannarock to be a household name when it comes to the advocacy and the cannabis culture that we're trying to build here in the state of Texas and more importantly in Austin.
Well, and especially as a consumer event, not so much business or industry event, although there's aspects of those as well. So the first 2 people are starting to get familiar with us and recognize us, and I've had a lot of people reach out and be like, looking forward to the next one. So that's a really good feeling. So I want to make sure to live up to expectations and blow minds.
It's, to me, it's difficult in Austin because we have such a heavy cannabis culture already. Regardless of what the state law is, Austin has been a very cannabis-friendly town for a long time. For at least over a decade, Austin's been known as a place where you can walk downtown with a joint in your hand, and people aren't going to mess with you. So and there's this weird, difficult aspect of outreach with that because part of the reason we've been able to do that is we kind of minded our own. That's sort of the culture here. But y'all have been pulling people out and getting people to come out to these events. I'm truly amazed by that.
The biggest thing for it too is for me to bring in the intent, I guess, is to introduce cannabis, hemp, CBD, the products of this plant to people who kind of hide behind the stigma or don't understand or are scared to learn especially because of the circles they run in, or they've just never been given the right information, or they've had a really awful experience be given the wrong products by someone. So to create an environment where people can come and learn about, what cannabis has to offer them, particularly whether it's for pain or PTSD or just for fun or, sleep, whatever it is, whatever they're looking for. But be enticed by coming to an event that has other aspects. So
music, culture,
do fun, family friendly, that's the thing about it too, making sure that this is, especially with you have kids, we have kids. The idea, our kids are jumping upstairs right now. You can hear them.
About to get the broomstick. Hey,
yeah, I know. But the idea that it doesn't need to be something scary. It doesn't need to be something we don't talk about. And then if you don't know about it, learn about it. There's nothing wrong with it. So creating an environment where you can bring your kids, have fun, bring your pets. It's making it not. This is not a 21 and up bar. It's not. It's less scary than alcohol. If you're not scared about having a glass of wine with your girlfriends while the kids are at the pool, then come learn about it.
It's not the high times hemp cannabis cup and all that kind of stuff. Which carries the stigma of cannabis culture that's already a preconceived notion in people's minds that it's just going to be a bunch of bloody potheads and a bunch of people who want nothing to do with society and outliers and stuff like that. And I think that the mission of Cannarock, which at the heart of it is advocacy, but most importantly, the heart of it, which is Britain's sort of brainchild and passion, like she was saying, is to more people to understand that cannabis is not a drug. This isn't a substance that yes, you can enjoy it recreationally, but it has so many different applications and multitude of applications that are just not, that go beyond consumption. And the governments know that, the people know that. It's heavily ingrained in cultures across the world, hemp products and such. But the most important thing, I think, for Cannarock is to maintain this community aspect where it's, hey, let's have fun talking about weed.
Yeah.
It's not a bunch of stoners who are.
Yeah, we're still stoners, right?
Yeah.
Well, I say it's not the stoner culture of, oh yeah, I'm gonna get lit, man, and just
Right.
and watch
it's
SpongeBob.
not the MTV days. It's like Beavis and Butthead sitting there talking about getting the munchies, or the what happened in the 90s and the 2000s. We talk about music a lot, you and I, because obviously I work in music, and it was so cool to see guys like Snoop Dogg and Cypress Hill, and their whole shtick, their whole thing was built around cannabis consumption, and because it was edgy, because it was illegal, because it carried
outlaws.
It carried with it this air of, we are on the outside and the fringes of society. So therefore, if you consume this product, you're a badass too. And I think at this point in 2022, where we are now, we have to really shed that image and know what's happened in the past. But we definitely need to shed the idea that this is an outlier thing. I mean, Texas right now stands as one of the largest states and probably one of the most influential states in the union that has not made further strides into legalization and full legalization. Obviously, you guys like us and Britain and everyone involved, we're looking for full federal legalization, but Cannarock is part of that push in Texas to make sure and to finally see that Texas be a state in the union that is completely open to the fact that people want to enjoy the cannabinoid plant.
There's something about that I think a lot of people outside of Texas don't recognize, and it's that we live in a massive flippin' state.
Okay.
We are, as we talk about Texas as its own country, and I mean
It really
literally,
is.
we are the size of our own country. And people ask, I've had people ask me, well, why aren't you looking at places like helping Oklahoma or helping Arkansas or maybe Massachusetts with their efforts? And it's like, we have enough to take care of here in Texas. It's not something where we're trying to be selfish. It's just, we've got so much ground to cover here.
For sure.
It is insane.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's huge, it's huge. And I mean, definitely, with us as well, that's the intention ultimately, is to do kind of a full Cannarock, like Cannarock US tour, right? We've got a lot of really awesome people and connections and possibilities in other states. But I mean, we're not going anywhere until we make more, take further steps here. This is home, that's the intention, with these shows as well, is just bringing in, supporting locally. It's not just about cannabis. We have these artists, in our marketplace, local, people, because it's about Texas. It's about helping Texas, grow and overcome this stigma and legalize, and then moving forward from there and doing more. And meeting Leah, she's such a badass, Leah Laskins, and so many people in the industry doing the right thing, and being able to stand next to you guys and join you and be a part of this march is so awesome. But like you're saying, like, yeah, Oklahoma, you're cool guys, but let's be honest, they're also getting a little quicker movement.
Those states are a bit further along, obviously, but once Texas goes, they all go.
Yeah,
that's another thing. Once Texas says something in Congress, that's a massive part of legislation in the United States. So places like Oklahoma for full on, and California is already known for doing their own thing, right? But those places, like you say, Arkansas or these other surrounding states within the Midwest, Texas leads the charge. So Texas gets it, everyone's gonna fall in line.
And people, I think, don't understand, like, with that aspect, just how much of an international market Texas is for itself, just in routine business. And then there's just with, like, I mentioned before, we're our own country basically, as far as how things operate economically at that level. So it's one of those things. Once it happens with us, how much sway we have, obviously. Anybody who probably wasn't on board is going to be coming on board with it.
Yeah,
they want to do business.
Get with it. Texas
1000%.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of cool things this particular Cannarock has. Obviously, the music is a massive part of it. Cannarock, and so there's a lot of bands and other artists. We're still kind of locking down. We're looking for a national headliner this time. I know we've used Texas-based artists, and possibly a Texas-based national artist would be nice. But I think in the charge to make this, as we've stated, a household name, and to make this part of the charge in the cannabis culture in Texas, we're really looking to kind of blow the roof off with this one, and just move quicker and move faster and move closer to being a real legitimate festival, a name where artists want to turn up, where the city of Austin gets involved, and it's really cool for them to see these things. I mean, the Hemp Growers Cup was a phenomenal event, and some of the things that Leah does, like you said, with the hemp tours, man, that's a great idea. It's all part and all cool. It's things that people know, like tours. Who wouldn't want to see a tour of cannabis culture in Texas or in Austin or in Houston? It's really cool, and it sheds light on some of the communities that don't get that sort of spotlight, or don't get that time in the sun, and the people that are associated with the support people that are associated, the farmers and the hands and the families. And you see some of the families that are growing in Texas. You're like, hey man, Texas Republicans, young Republicans, I believe, are part of the advocacy groups of one of the many, part of one of the 20 or so advocacy groups that are leading the charge, So I think it's a bipartisan thing, and Cannarock being extremely, as we're all liberal in the sense of the way we think, not politically speaking, but we're just very liberal in the way we all think, because we're artists, to be frank. So we're just looking to just make sure that people understand that cannabis is a part of life. The cannabinoid plant is here to help enrich our existence, and Cannarock is part of Austin culture, and part of that history of live music and festivals and community events. It's a big thing here.
Community, exactly. That's the whole thing, like community in all aspects, And again, saying, the community within the cannabis industry itself. I mean, I think the first time I met you was at Liz and Patrick's, at that Grow House.
Their first Taste of Texas Hemp Cup they held.
Taste of Texas Hemp Cup, yeah. And that was when I met them. I helped them organize their vendors there. Absolutely fell in love. And so awesome. And watched it grow. Their second one, huge. And it was, Far Out, right?
Far Out Lounge.
Just watching, Far Out Lounge. Yeah, and seeing people at these events who were, say at two, at the first one and the second one, how much bigger they've gotten. Meeting when I first met Leah, she was doing hemp tours. And now she's, with Hip Business Builders, now they're with Dalton and whatnot. So, I mean, she's gone from downtown Austin to Austin, Dallas, Houston, to conquering the state, and she's not done yet. They're just getting started.
Oh, yeah.
So
They're building all the time. So
yeah,
it is time for us to go into our first sponsor break here at the Lone Star Collective podcast. I'm your host, Jesse Williams. This is episode number 47. This episode's about Cannarock. We've got AJ Channer and Britton Taylor with us this week. We'll be right back after these sponsor messages.
Thrive Apothecary offers an experience truly unique from anything else in Texas. A full-service cannabis solution that is doctor-owned and offers customers every level of cannabis legally available in Texas. From traditional CBD products to emerging hemp-derived THC edibles, smokables, and now medical cannabis. As a licensed medical cannabis provider, prospective patients from anywhere in Texas can book a sponsored online eligibility consultation to determine if they qualify for a medical marijuana prescription from the comfort of their own home. Plus, for Texas veterans, the first prescription appointment is donated by Thrive. Visit thrivetx.com for more information.
Oak Cliff Cultivators is a sponsor of Texas Cannabis Collective and the Lone Star Collective podcast. Oak Cliff focuses on quality assurance with their hemp products while providing customer service to help you discover cannabinoids to meet your needs. Their product line includes hemp flower, pre-rolls, CBG tinctures, edibles, Delta 8, and merch. For more information on their products' quality or to shop online today, visit oakcliffcultivators.com or contact them at info@oakcliffcultivators.com.
Welcome back to the Lone Star Collective podcast, distributed on Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, Facebook, and much more, to give Texans information regarding policy, industry, and culture. Here is this week's host, Jesse Williams, and Austin Sam Hariri.
Welcome back to the Lone Star Collective podcast. I'm your host, Jesse Williams. I don't have a co-host for this episode. Everybody's out enjoying themselves this Wednesday, but I'm enjoying myself here because I am here with Cannarock for episode 47, and we've been having an awesome discussion about their upcoming event on August 27th at Come and Take It Live in Austin, Texas. Quite the venue. I was surprised. It's at the Hemping, Texas Expo on Saturday, and somebody picked up the flyer and said, "Oh, it's at Come and Take It." I love that place.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so our friend Anthony owns Come and Take It. They used to be the same guys that had Dirty Dog down on 6th Street and a couple other places. So they're just like they're the metal grunge rock venue people, right? And so this Anthony is this one, and that will always be the home of Cannarock here in Austin. That's again, community family, baby, right? So yeah, that place is so beautiful, and there's so many cool things. AJ's actually directed some music videos there too. So
awesome.
Yeah.
For some reason, I always thought the place was in association with emos.
I know. Well, people think that because it's the
same building,
end of
same strip.
Parking. Yeah, the parking lot or whatever. Your emos is here. Come and Take Us here. Bunch of graffiti and parking in between.
And then for some reason, there was some name of some company. I know that the group that sells the tickets for ACL festival. For some reason, I saw something. I thought they would work together.
There's something over there. There's something. Yeah. I don't know. AJ had to run upstairs. The girls are asking for snacks.
The kids.
Snack attack, of course.
And we talk about, I got a kid. I totally get it. It's we just came off of a sponsor break. We put this off for a day so we could actually announce these things on the show. Sponsors for Cannarock.
Yes. So I actually am very excited. We got our relationship, with Liz and Patrick Gurhouse and Leah, again with Hemp Business Builder, always working together, all of us. So that goes without saying. Our presenting sponsor is Get Some. They're a really awesome D8 gummies and tinctures. They're new to Austin. So this is sort of their coming out event. So that'll be really exciting. So watch out. There'll be a lot of free samples of their gummies there. Get some. And then our the super exciting one I've been really waiting to be able to tell you about is Quentin with Indo Smoke Shop and Greenleaf are going to be hosting a dab bar upstairs. So the venue, like I say, it's a family friendly event, all ages, free. It will always be free. But we are going to have the upstairs bar inside 21 and up, and it's going to be like a little VIP dab lounge. So there is an opportunity to just be a grown up and smoke as well. So I'm really, really, really excited that we just got that locked in. So, and Quentin seems like a really cool dude. We haven't gotten to meet in person yet. We've talked a lot, so I'm really looking forward to. There's a lot of really awesome people I'm looking forward to meeting in person at this thing. Because you got to think COVID too. You never know.
That was on my mind a moment ago because I was like, last year it was weird because I think y'all had it around July.
It was rescheduled, I think, like 3 times because we kept opening and shutting down.
And then we had that weird surge where it's like hospitals were filled and people are like, oh,
yeah,
I want to go out
again. Yeah.
Now we're at that spot where we're like, ask us to stay inside. Get real.
Mask at the doctor's office.
You mean toilet paper?
Yeah.
I'm using them for now.
Oh my gosh. Well, and last year, I honestly had reached a point I was like, we're hosting this event. It doesn't matter what happens. We, the people have been. We had people who were like, whatever you want to do, we'll do it whenever. And I was like, thank you for, for riding this wave with us for 2.5 years and not knowing what to expect. We rescheduled it again. No one cared. Everyone's cool. We're all on the same page, right? And we had over 400 people show up last year. I was blown away by that. I didn't even for being our first event was, very small. It was only our second event and affected by the pandemic. Rescheduled multiple times. So after in the end we had just a little over 400 people total, and that was kind of wild to me. So hopefully we'll see what happens this year. But yeah, I mean that just alone tells you how much people believe in what we're doing and just believing in the opportunities. Really.
Yeah, I'm blown away. You said 400 people.
I know, right? I didn't think that because it's a come and go event all day too, right?
That's the thing. Wow. Is it may seem sparse at some points, but if you've got a person, 2 or 3 people coming in every 2 to 3 minutes, then you easily get to 400 people over like a 5 to 6 hour event.
Right.
And I noticed something I'm interested in is last year the theme was cars.
Yeah.
And this year the theme is bikes.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, have y'all seen what's been put forward for that? Like what kind of exotic bikes are we?
Okay, well, I really want to go in the freezer. I really want to go for the vintage bike kind of look. But honestly, I just want again, it's like one more reason for people who might be interested to go to a cool event and learn, right? So that was the whole thing with the cars. There's classic cars and Father's Day. It was like, bring your dads out, check out some cool cars. Oh, by the way, learn about cannabis.
There's a few
same thing here. We just want to get some cool bikes. If you have a bike, bring it. We might, if we get to it, put together some sort of a competition thing. There's a lot of opportunity there. So we'll be announcing some more details on that in the next week or two.
I'd say y'all should reach out to the DA down in Corpus, Mark Gonzalez. He's a biker.
Oh yeah, okay.
It's funny to me because we interviewed him a few months back, and I was like, let me go look up about him, see what I can find, and get a background and ask some questions. And he has like a Trevor Noah bit where they actually went out to interview him because he was part of like a biker gang.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So I'm like, yeah, there's your guy.
All right, I'm gonna hit him up tomorrow.
There's your cannabis friendly biker to reach out to.
Perfect. Okay. All right. Let's all make that happen.
Is there any announcements as to what performers are going to
Okay,
be performing that y'all have locked in?
so we're currently, we don't have the headliner ourselves. Like he said, we're looking at for a national headliner. So he's gonna work on that one for me. But I have two really awesome Texas bands. We've got Chaw, CHAW, and
Similar into the rock genre still. We had a couple of rappers last time, which would be nice, but the Austin rap scene kind of keeps themselves kind of separate. So I guess they're mostly still rock bands, Chaw, like you said.
yeah. Chaw. So we have Chaw and Relevant Saints. The Relevant Saints is kind of a little. What would you say they?
A little bit heavier, a little active rock, kind of like Seven Dust, a little bit, but Seven Dust, Non-Point, that kind of vibe. Not as heavy as Fire from the Gods, but still like active rock. So it's still gonna stay in that type of realm. But as far as
Chaw's
music,
a little more indie.
we're looking for, and for the headliner, we're looking for any genre, open genre, but someone that'll put some bodies in the room and someone that also understands the Cannarock mission.
Right. That's local musicians and whatnot is important. But it's got to be someone on brand too. We need people who believe in our message and like to rock.
Somebody, Channer had posted a thing up the other day about people in the industry and where it came, like artists, where it came from and how they still hold strong. And I mentioned artists and I'm like, man, I'd probably have a stroke if y'all got this guy to show up. Nile Rodgers. Nile Rodgers is apparently he's played for Chic.
He live in Austin?
I don't think he lives in Austin, but he is definitely a cannabis advocate. And the dude, my wife says this is the guy who shaped the '80s because
Right.
he produced Duran Duran's The Reflex.
Right.
Couple of Madonna albums. He was with Chic, and it's like the guy shaped a lot of the music industry, and supposedly he's very cannabis friendly. So I would. I don't know if he lives in Austin, but getting him to come out and perform that to me, I'm like, that's,
one thing I've learned is it never hurts to send an email.
It doesn't.
Yep.
The most you can be told is no when you're in the position you were in before.
Yeah.
He played bass and stuff. He played bass and did some stuff with Bootsy Collins at the Musicians Institute, which Richie, my drummer in Fire from the Gods, actually worked with him. So I knew that's why I asked if he lived in Austin, because I knew there was a connection to Austin, that he had done something for it was kind of like a music school. They played on Warped Tour, but it was on the Full Sail stage, but it was about music schools and music education. And Bootsy, they wrote a song with Bootsy Collins, who's a legendary bass player for James Brown, and then I believe Nile Rodgers also played.
Yeah, Nile Rodgers is, like I tell people, he's a legend in his own right, just with what he's done, his history. And yeah, if there's a connection there, man, I hope now that's like sparked something and that happens. That'd be very magical.
Thank you. We'll look into it. Why not? I am like really excited about the bands are really cool. I've got another live painter. That's always a really fun thing to be able to like raffle off or just do giveaways with the paintings and swag and whatnot. Our local artists and whatnot, jewelry makers and designers and whatnot will be there. I mean, and anyone, you think, or anyone who might be interested, we are open to anything. Honestly, this is just a canvas for, advocacy. So we do whatever we really want. I think that Austin is going to host a stand-up set. So
that's the word I've heard.
Do what?
I said, that's the word I've heard.
Oh, yes. Oh, I'm so excited. It's like, because I've been trying to make it out to one of his sets and I just never have. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to bring him to me. I was like, would you be interested in this? And I didn't know if he would or not. And he was all about it. I'm like, yes. So we got Austin doing stand up. And he's going to speak on advocacy, do a bit of a Q&A. So I'm really excited about that one too.
Alrighty. It is time for us to go into our second sponsor break here at the Lonestar Collective. I'm your host, Jesse Williams of the Lonestar Collective podcast. This week is episode 47. I'm joined by AJ Channer and Britton Taylor of Cannarock. We will be right back after these messages.
Thrive Apothecary offers an experience truly unique from anything else in Texas. A full-service cannabis solution that is doctor-owned and offers customers every level of cannabis legally available in Texas. From traditional CBD products to emerging hemp-derived THC edibles, smokables, and now medical cannabis. As a licensed medical cannabis provider, prospective patients from anywhere in Texas can book a sponsored online eligibility consultation to determine if they qualify for a medical marijuana prescription from the comfort of their own home. Plus, for Texas veterans, the first prescription appointment is donated by Thrive. Visit thrivetx.com for more information.
Oak Cliff Cultivators is a sponsor of Texas Cannabis Collective and the Lonestar Collective podcast. Oak Cliff focuses on quality assurance with their hemp products while providing customer service to help you discover cannabinoids to meet your needs. Their product line includes hemp flower, pre-rolls, CBG tinctures, edibles, Delta-8, and merch. For more information on their products' quality or to shop online today, visit oakcliffcultivators.com or contact them at info@oakcliffcultivators.com.
Welcome back to the Lonestar Collective podcast, distributed on Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, Facebook, and much more, to give Texans information regarding policy, industry, and culture. Here is this week's host, Jesse Williams, and Austin Sam Hariri.
Welcome back to the Lonestar Collective podcast. I'm your host, Jesse Williams. This week, it is episode 47. Our episode this week is about Cannarock. I'm joined by AJ Channer and Britton Taylor. They are the founders of Cannarock here in Austin, Texas.
Hi.
Are you laughing up a storm because I'm playing Queens of the Stone Age? Feel good hit of the summer, or it's what I want Cannarock to be, the feel good hit of the summer.
Yes, exactly. That's the point. You know, sometimes I feel like I get too serious about it because at the end of the day, it's just a freaking party, dude. Like, let's party, let's hang out, let's have fun. You know, I mean, always learn something new every day. You know, but like, let's have a blast and celebrate. I mean, that's I guess kind of my motto really is, you know, what I used to say, like education through celebration, you know, I mean, what other way if you're not going to have fun doing what you do? What's the point?
Yeah. I mean, if you're not enjoying it, you're not going to want to do it.
No.
You're not going to want to be around it.
No, exactly.
They always say, do get into the work you love, love the work you do. People are like, oh, I can't do that. And I was saying, meander for a moment and get into the thing you like and focus with that, enjoy it. And it's amazing how far you'll go with it from there.
Yeah. You know, that's one thing I think COVID taught so many of us too, is like, oh, you really can follow your dreams because we're all sitting on couches without jobs right now, you know? And so many people, I mean, you think about it for real though. I mean, even some of the people who are going to be at the show, they started during COVID because they were like, I got a stimulus check. I have a dream. I have something I've always wanted to do with my life. For the first time, I have the opportunity to do so. And here we are.
And for me, I should have started doing this a long time ago. I went to school for this. Like, I already had been practicing it beforehand. and like was wanting to hone my craft by doing mass communications in university. And then when COVID hit, I was really wanting to get into this, and because everybody's at home, I think you're gonna like, Chandler knows nobody's going to shows. It's like, hey, do your own show at home, because that's where people are at.
And look at you now.
Yeah, man, you've grown. Even since my interview, even since the Fire from the Gods interview, you know, things have gotten a little bit more, you know, I hate to say legit, but you're getting a little bit more.
It looks more professional.
More professional, a little bit more, you know, less rough around the edges, like so to speak. Like it's cool. I think you should really be on a channel now. You should be on a real channel, because this. I don't know who else is doing your specific pod here in Texas, or even I know there's a ton of obviously cannabis and marijuana related podcasts. But for yours, Texas Cannabis Collective, I mean, you could lead the way, man.
I mean, you have your whole community online too. Like your group is like one of my favorites. I'm always like post. It's always some dumb meme.
A rising tide raises all ships. Let's all grow together, man. And legalize.
And I'm gonna give props where props are due. I was working. Before I started my own, I was working alongside Russell Dowden for the Texas Hemp Reporter, doing his Texas Hemp.
Yes, I remember that, of course.
And props to him. He's still doing his podcast. We've had our little separation with that. I still write for his magazine.
I wondered about that, if you still did anything with him.
That's cool. And I didn't know there was a pod. I just thought it was just basically kind of an online like website blog sort of thing.
I say He's on episode 80 something, almost in 90 now. Yeah, for a moment our show was on KLBJ 590. So I'm like, I've been on AM radio, I've been on FM radio. It's one of those things that, like you say, you slowly grow and you hone your craft and you find that niche. And this really, to me, like you're talking about looking professional and it not looking rough around the edges. This was really me going, I'm tired of doing 6 hours of post-production work to put in thirds and titles and things. So this was a very easy solution. I do appreciate that y'all are going to give Austin some time to do his stand-up.
Yes,
and
I'm
advocacy
so
work.
Excited about that.
And the reason why is I started doing some open mics a couple weeks ago.
Nice.
I saw this. I'm excited about that too. So how'd it go?
So the problem I've run into is I'm not the type who, I'm kind of like in AJ's position where I'm not scared to be on a stage in front of people and talk to people.
I've never thought that once about you.
That's not my issue. I guess a lot of comedians are like, you need to go shake those nerves off. And I'm like, I just want to know if the material's funny or not. I need an audience.
Am I funny?
And right now it's an audience of comedians. A lot of open mics are that. So you have comedians who they're not really wanting to hear jokes. They're wanting to tell their jokes.
Right.
Yeah. It's like, somebody I found said, it's like going to the gym and nobody likes going to the gym to work out. You're all at the gym working out together.
Yeah.
Working out for each other, trying to show off.
Perspective would be, imagine trying to put on a rock concert just for other rock stars. And it's like,
man, that happens. You become a band's band, you know, and we're like that a little bit because bands love us, but you know we want more just regular people.
You're like, we want fans to love us, so they'll buy the music.
Exactly, not just other bands. Like, oh, I love that band and I love hanging out with those guys and taking them on tour. But we just want more people to be into us.
And that's how I got into doing pushed into open mic. I wasn't pushed, but kind of nudged into it. I've got all these friends that are comedians for the advocacy work, and they're like, hey man, half the stuff that's coming out of your mouth is just flipping hilarious, man. You got to get in front of an open mic and start doing this stuff. Wow. I realized I'm the comedian's comedian apparently, and half the comedians are like, I don't care for you.
Haters are fans, baby. That's what we've all learned, right?
And I take a step back and I realized, I told my wife today, I was like, perhaps a thing is maybe I'm like a Bob Odenkirk, where I've got solid writing skills and I know how to compose it together, but stand-up's not really my forte. Maybe that delivery system is just not my delivery system. Because I filmed skits that I won an entire college class over. People had like $1,000 drone footage that they did to put a trailer together, and here I'm making Pepsi Challenge piss jokes. Everybody's like, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the one.
He's the guy.
Like, that's hilarious. And I'm like, you can't, that doesn't translate to stand-up.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I get that. I love stand-up. I've told AJ this too. And I mean, just getting me to do this podcast was like hard for me because I don't understand why I have just this wild stage fright. Our babies are going off again.
I hear them. So, it's okay.
Yeah. But I mean, I love stand up. I'm not doing it, but in another world, I was definitely like Christina P. I love a good stand up.
And I'm glad that he's going to be able to do that. It gives him an opportunity
Yeah.
because he's really been working at that, and it
Yeah,
gives him an
I'm
opportunity
so
to be,
excited.
and it
That's
gives him an
awesome.
opportunity to be in front of a different type of crowd that
Right.
isn't other comedians. It isn't just the same people who heard the same jokes over and over. So it gives an opportunity for his material to be heard, and I really appreciate that he's given that opportunity.
Oh my God. And like I get to finally go to a show and I don't have to get a babysitter because my kids will be there.
That works too.
Right?
So it's August 27th. What time does it start? That is the
So it's from
person I don't
11.
remember.
It's 11 to 5. We'll probably start doing activities and whatnot around noon. But Leah's gonna start. She's gonna DJ as well. So she's probably gonna open it. Oh, let me get these kids. Sorry.
Jesse, my bad, brother.
It's okay.
Yeah, they're out here. But yeah, it's 11 to 5. So come and go as you please. The panels. Well, we're not doing as many panels this year. I'm really doing kind of a speaker in between a set. I might have 1 or 2 panels where it's more than one person on stage, but for the most part, and again, one of the reasons to add the stand-up comedy is because some of these topics can be so heavy, and to take a heavy, serious topic and throw it into the middle of a very, into an event, it's like there's a right way and a wrong way to do it. And last year went really well. But I also, as we grow, it turns into, because again, it's not intended to be an industry event. Like you're saying, like the comedians, you're saying bands. Like so often I go to events here and I love them. And it's all the same people. Like for me, I'm like, I get to get out of the house. I'm like, hey, you.
Family reunion. Yeah.
What's up, guys? It's like let's get the gang back together, because it's like, it's like a quasi industry event, And last year that it was kind of like that, and I loved it. But also I'm like, but I had to remember I'm not the demographic for this event,
Yeah.
So breaking it up a little bit. Oh, someone's upset. Breaking it up a little bit to kind of keeping it shorter for the attention span, I guess.
And I totally get when you talk about having serious conversation. I did a veterans panel for the veterans event that took place back in April up in Killeen. And there was, I think, like 5 of us on the panel, and another veteran would say something, and people were like, yeah, all right, yeah. And, we got to do blah, blah, yeah. And it got to me at the end, and I'm talking, and I kept it within the time that it's supposed to be. I was like, I'm going to make this quick and to the point. And people are like,
just
man. And I was like, man, did I do something? Did I say something wrong? Did I do something wrong? And this happened several times. And then when the panel's over, everybody's like, yeah, for all of us. And David Bass came up to me and goes, dude, you rocked it. You totally rocked it. Everything you had to say was amazing and great. And I was like, man, it didn't feel that way because people were kind of like, they were in shock and awe is what it was. And then Austin
Right.
And Austin tells me the same thing. He's like, yo, man, you did amazing on that panel. I'm like, man, I did not feel that way. I was really doubting what I had said because the response was way different. He's like, dude, you dropped 2 truth bombs. You were very serious.
Exactly. That's not I'm not interested. That's an open mouth jaw, like, oh my God. Yeah, exactly. David Bass, what a cool dude. What a cool dude. One day I'm going to get to meet him. I feel it's so funny because I feel like everyone I know knows him, but I just see him on Facebook. So he's like this cannabis celebrity to me. And I'm like, one day I'm going to be walking down the grocery store, HEB, and I'm going to see this beard and this beautiful man. I'm going to be like,
it's Barry Gibbs. Oh no, that's David Bass.
Like, one day.
First, like I said, you'd be like, that's Barry Gibbs. And you're like, no, wait, that's David Bass.
Wait, yeah.
Almost want to start calling him Marijuana Santa Claus.
Yeah. Marijuana Santa. I like it. Hey, there's definitely, I'm sure you can Amazon that Santa suit.
So y'all have got some music lineups, some advocacy. Like you said, Austin's going to be talking, doing some stand-up. I know Leia's going to be out there. I take it Leia's going to be doing some advocacy talk. Y'all had CBD.
She can do whatever she wants.
She'll run on stage in the middle of the set. Yo, I got something to say.
You can do that. Whatever you want to do, you can do that. Yeah, Leah can come in and do whatever she wants at Cannarock, as far as I'm concerned.
I know y'all had I think her actual name's Anita Summers, CBD Genie.
Yes.
She was
Oh
there
my
last
God.
year.
So I don't know if she's going to be there yet, again yet or not. But she was so cool. So I'm really hoping that she can come through again. She won the other painting too, one of the live paintings. So that was really cool. It was exciting to like give those to people who like were like there for the cause. You know, one of the bands, I think it was like the guitarist, Affinity Falls last year.
Yeah, Herbie.
Herbie
Falls,
yeah, he won one of the paintings too, so that was cool. But yeah, she's awesome. I'm gonna reach out to her, and I need to check in with a couple people speaking with.
I say she's my type of speaker, and I think the reason why is because we both have these highly technical backgrounds. Like I did nuclear power plant technology. I was a reactor operator in the Navy, so there's this engineering background, and she's very good at doing what I do, and it's taking a very complex subject and topic and laying it out in simplistic everyman terms, as it's called.
Yeah,
The layman's
I
terms.
appreciate that.
So she's great at that. I'm just stunned by how well she does it.
I can listen to her talk forever.
I believe she has a molecular chemistry background.
Really,
Wow.
I didn't know that. I know that she has a farm down. It's south, right?
I believe so.
Am I wrong? She invited me out there one time, and I never took her up on that. But maybe sometime.
Yeah, but she has a molecular chemistry background.
Wow.
And I didn't realize it till we were having a discussion at a normal meeting, and she started talking about that. And I was like, oh, I totally understand. That's how blah, blah, blah works. She was like, you get that? Yeah, I didn't study physics for power plants. So,
Oh my gosh. I get that way. So like I'm a graphic designer, and I don't often get to talk about, it doesn't come up in the conversation often, like what kind of filters do you use, or pen tools do you use in Illustrator, and do you use layers and masks? Like, what do you do? So every once a year, you'll talk about clipping masks, and I'm like, did you say clipping masks?
Channer's face just now, that was gold.
Yeah, that chick just doesn't listen, dude. Like she's
over it. She's our kid.
We're just her roommates.
If you're listening to this podcast, you should be going on YouTube or Spotify and finding the video version that we're going to upload, because that was gold right there.
Yeah. Like, what is she doing?
It's nonstop.
But you've got kids. You hear sounds. You're like, I don't make sounds like that. I don't make that much commotion in the house, and I'm 6'5", 240 some odd pounds. Like, what is she doing?
Yeah.
But so I was like, whoa.
And like I said, I get it. I got a 9-year-old. He does what I call he's filthier than Eddie Murphy once he gets in the shower. Just the stuff that comes out of his mouth is like,
yeah.
I'm like, as long as you keep it there, kiddo, we're fine. But I hear that stuff at school. It's gonna be a different story.
Parenting is wild, man. It's cool, but I think it's rad that we're parents and you're a parent, and we do this, and we talk about cannabis, and we talk about consumption mainly, and not just like, oh yeah, you can make really cool things out of hemp like people did in the 80s or the 90s. Like, we actually talk about consumption, and I think it's a massive part of changing the way people think about cannabis, and the way people integrate it into their lives.
Yeah.
People want to live free and want to live normal lives and want to be medicated. But, sometimes the prescription stuff and sometimes the stuff that science produces isn't always the best thing. I mean, there's so much, there's so many advantages to using the prescription stuff. But at the end of the day, why not try something that's got just a little bit of chemical change to it that can really help your body and fit with and work with the other chemicals in your body to just create a nice cocktail of emotions and cocktail of behavior, instead of something that radically alters your behavior based on something that you have. I don't know much about autism, but I've been really wanting and earnestly have this desire to look into autism. And I've read, you come across the things on the internet and says, oh, I was giving my kid CBD drops, it curbed some of the symptoms or some of the behaviors of autism, and that's interesting. But the fact that cannabis is at the center of that conversation makes it even better.
So my son's been diagnosed with autism.
I did not know that.
Pervasive development disorder, Asperger's. He also has ADHD.
No.
Oh, I did not know that.
So part of the thing that I learned a while back was I noticed that with the behavior, and I think it's probably why like CBD really helps, is we started referring to some of his behaviors as behavioral seizures.
Okay.
And you could tell that it was like this
Okay.
mental conundrum would happen, and you probably had a point where you've been so angry about something that just,
Such a good term.
as they say, you're not thinking straight. And
Right,
for average
right.
person, for average person, you take a moment, you calm yourself. But for these individuals, it seems there's this appearance that's like your brain has went whoa, blah, and
Yeah.
it
Overload.
starts
Of
having,
course.
it has this seizure that it's not so much
Right.
what we see for typical epileptics, but it's enough to start driving behavior,
Right.
Right.
this radical behavior. And if it is that, then, and we know CBD does wonders for epilepsy and seizures, then it stands to reason that a lot of these behaviors tend to go away because of that.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things as well. I will say and advise that when you start to research about autism, pay attention to it culturally as well. A lot of
For sure.
the
Yes.
things that has been, my wife and I point out, because my wife's West Indies, she's from Puerto Rico, and I'm from here in Texas, and we've noticed that a lot of things that may be considered autistic here are standard cultural items elsewhere.
Of course.
And a lot of these studies were
That
done
kind of drives
on,
me to wanting to research it a lot, because
Yeah.
all the history of it has all these cultural aspects to it. Whereas, I didn't like even ADHD and stuff like that. I was called hyperactive as a child. I've never been diagnosed, but I just, we've got something with Jupiter now where she's been diagnosed, and where I'm kind of observing some of her behavior and seeing some of the similarities in mine and my sister's behavior when we were kids. And I'm like, well, maybe was that what was going on with us? And does CBD now help that? The melatonin and all that stuff. I don't want to. We obviously don't want to continue doing that kind of stuff. But is there something a bit more natural? I grew up around the consumption of marijuana. It was everywhere in my house. My dad had massive bin bags of it from.
Wow.
We imported from Jamaica. Import it. Import it, exactly. But so it was always there, but we never viewed it as I know war up there. We never viewed it for its or I never viewed it for its medicinal aspects. I just like, the Jamaicans, and they like to get high.
And something I've been having to advocate lately that's not common in the cannabis community is that cannabis isn't the answer for everybody.
Right.
Because to me there's a problem where people are like, you just haven't tried the right thing yet.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I don't actually consume much. Every now and then I'll smoke with him, or maybe do like a CBD gummy or something. But I don't. I've never. That's not true. In college, I smoked a lot. But there was just one day I just couldn't smoke anymore, and it just doesn't work for me. But do I feel like I need to take a stand and I have an opportunity? Like, you have to do something with your voice, right?
Yeah.
And seeing the way that it benefits other people, and so that that's the biggest thing for me. But even when we're talking about these things, like, I'm actually bipolar, and I did not know this until a couple of years ago. I was diagnosed, and I was talking to my psychiatrist about it once. I was like, I used to smoke a lot, and it would really help me calm, and it would help me to feel better. And this was also like before, this was 10 years or so ago, before I was diagnosed and whatnot. And I didn't really realize why things had changed. And he was like, yeah, that actually happens in a lot of people with bipolar disorder. Your body changes, your chemicals change. And you hear this a lot with people who they used to be able to smoke, and now they can't. And they are constantly trying to find that space again. Like, oh, we'll do this one, try this one. You're not trying the right one. You're not trying the right one. It's like, no, if you can't, you can't. And that's okay. It doesn't mean you have to have a problem with it or anything. You just simply can't, But I have found recently, over the past year or so, I've smoked a hit, or like a gummy. And I found a lot of products that I really like. And which is funny is Delta 8 is actually the first time I've been able to really partake again.
So plug the website. I'm gonna let y'all get to it, because I understand.
I can't believe
I know
it.
they're going wild.
I was on a pod yesterday, and they were fine.
Yeah.
I did an interview for Fire from the Gods, and they were fine. So I'm like, they'll be good. But
yeah.
Today,
10 minutes from now,
there's something else.
Today it's Afghanistan and Russia going at it.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh,
exactly.
Yeah. Do you want to just run a paper?
Jesse, thank you for having us, man. We need all the coverage we can get. You know, it's still early days for us, being that this is our third. Cannarock, but we're trying our damnness to kind of do this with, you know, the little bit of elbow grease and a little bit of love that people want to put into these things, man. So we thank you for
no problem.
for help and the coverage, mate.
And it's Cannarock ATX.
Cannarock ATX. We're both on Instagram, Britton under Britton Lee, AJFFTG. You can find Fire from the Gods music everywhere, but CannarockATX.com and Showcase Events, I believe, is still. But well, here comes the army. But we're out there, man. CannarockATX.com. That's the one.
Here's the little monster.
Attention. Just one. I get it.
Yeah.
Hello, it's just me.
Hey.
You want to say hi?
And that's we're real people, real family. We're just trying to do our thing here, man, you know?
And we'll speak here in a moment. I'm going to ending this. I'm your host this week, Jesse Williams of the Lonestar Collective podcast. I'm the host this week. This is episode 47. Our guest, Cannarock, AJ Channer and Britton Taylor. We thank them for their time joining us here. You can find more information at CannarockATX.com. Everybody, enjoy your time here in Texas. Stay hydrated, beat the heat. And August 27th, Cannarock, be there. Come and take it live.
Make it happen, make it happen, make it happen.
Thank you, Jesse, for everything.
Cheers, guys.
Bye.